So you've arrived at this point on your path where you feel like giving up, where it's like no matter all the things that you've done, the deliberate steps you've taken, the work you've put in, it's like none of it matters because you just have not been seeing the fruit of your labor. The desired outcome is nowhere in sight. And the thing is, we've all been there before at one point or another on our journey. And so I want to share an ingredient that I have found critical to my success and to the success of those I work with. And it doesn't matter if the path you're on is like a deliberate spiritual journey, or a personal growth journey, or your professional development path. Like, it doesn't matter what space you are occupying or what road you are trotting, that ingredient is going to be critical to your resilience, to your success, to your ability to keep going in the face of the things that could cause you to doubt, to fear, to be disappointed, to be disillusioned, to court scarcity. So let's dive into this content, and as we explore this ingredient, I'm going to also share two shifts that you can make in your world right now that will help you to practically apply and magnify this ingredient so that you're setting yourself up for success. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Okay, so I want to start by sharing a spectrum of energy with you. And if I'm able to get some visuals in here, I will. So on the one end of the spectrum, we have what we call ease. And on the other end of the spectrum, we have what we call effort or force. And what I want to do as we are considering this spectrum is to talk through some of the things that we assume about each energy at the polarized ends of the spectrum. And the reason that's important is because many of us, as we approach our journeys, we are approaching it from either angle, whether we're like, yeah, I want to be in ease and flow, or I'm all about the efforting and the forcing. We're going to talk through that because depending on where you are on the spectrum, then life is going to keep serving up to you the things that you need in order for you to find your balance. So let's start with ease. And first of all, when you think about the spectrum like that, imagine someone sitting at the end of that spectrum. If you sit in this space of ease all day long, all day, every day, that is all that's in your world, naturally force gets magnified, effort gets magnified. And what does that mean? It means that life wants to now introduce into your experience things that are going to rouse you from that place of ease and slumber, if you will, and require that you put in some work, that you effort a little bit more. The opposite is true. If you're sitting at the end of effort and force, then ease gets magnified, ease gets highlighted. So now it comes into your world to say, hello, I need to teach you to know how to fall back, to know how to just be positive, to know how to spend some time, in step with the divine, to know how to meditate and contemplate, because life needs to show you that it is not just all about efforting, that ease is important too. So you see what happens. It's a kind of seesaw. And this is why sitting at the end of the spectrum is really just introducing into your space the need for balance. And so we're going to talk about what that balance will look like. But let's go over to ease. When you think about ease and living your life from a place of ease, I want you to drop in the comments right now what you think about. What comes to mind? For me, the first thing I hear is almost something that the older generation used to say. Like, if it's not easy, God isn't in it. If it's not easy, it must not be from God. That used to be a thing that my grandma and maybe her mother would say all the time. It was almost this expectation that once you are aligned with your purpose, once you are in step with the divine, everything should just fall into place. Everything should just be easy. Okay, so maybe that's not the association that you've made with ease. Maybe when you think about ease, you're thinking about being in this state of meditation and manifestation and being silent and simply just waiting. So there are some people who see ease as everything coming to them, not having to go out and get things done and, burn the midnight oil and talk to those people. It's about falling back and allowing the thing that is yours to show up. Maybe for some of you, when you think about ease, what you're thinking about has to do with, just energetically magnetizing things to you. So it's just like, I'm just going to sit here, and if I'm a magnet, then that other magnet is going to feel the pull to me, and we're naturally just going to come to each other. And look, I'm not saying that any of these associations are incorrect, but I want to show you how, if we're not careful, the reason we are feeling doubtful, the reason we are feeling like giving up, the reason we're feeling abandoned by our own missions and, dreams in this world is because we're living from the polarized ends of the spectrum, being all too in ease or being all too in force and effort. So I think we have the gist about ease, because when you think about ease, you always hear about divine flow. It's just like, make it easy. Just allow it. Being in that state of allowing things to come. Not doing anything, being silent. I have a friend who would be in this state of ease, and that would look like not doing anything all day. So, as an entertainer, there were things that he needed to get done. Like, he needed to have recording time. He needed to do things. And he would just be in this state once it got challenging for him, where it was just like, yeah, I'm just going to lay in bed all day. I'm not going to lift a finger. You're lucky if I even eat. I'm just going to lay here, and then things are going to be resolved. And once again, I'm not saying that the things that we associate with ease are wrong. It's about living there completely and just looking at your life strictly through the lens of one end of the spectrum. So let's move over to force. And I want you to tell me what comes to mind when you think of force and efforting, okay? Drop that in the comments. Also, can you be honest enough to say which end of the spectrum you've been living your life from, okay? So when we talk about force and efforting, tell me some of the things that come to mind. The first thing I hear is that if you want something good, your nose has to run. That was an old saying that I grew up hearing. And what that meant is that anything that is good for you, anything that's good, it won't come easy. Do you see how they're at these extreme ends of the spectrum? Because one is like, everything just comes to me easily, effortlessly, right? Because it's mine. And then the other end says, if I want it, yes, it's mine, but if I want to grab hold of it, I have to do and do and do some more, and it's not going to be easy. And what I've found on this other end of the spectrum is that I can have clients, or there are moments in life where we're almost tripping ourselves up, making it harder for ourselves, not knowing how to fall back and allow something to not be painstaking, like seriously second guessing something, opportunities, people that come through to aid us in some way, but we're looking at them side eye because there's no way it could be this easy. And isn't it true that with a lot of things in our lives, we're almost conditioned to expect that it has to be hard, because if it's easy, chances are we're being ripped off, bamboozled, all the things. And what that has created are people who live on the opposite end of the spectrum, where there's a lot of waiting for someone to miracle them out of a situation, to save them, to come through and help them, to solve their problems. And when you look at the world, you can think about religion and a lot of our cultural structures, and you can ask yourself, what posture, what energy has been cultivated in us as a society? So when you think about force and effort, you may be thinking too about overdoing. You may be thinking that this is the moment where I have to do, take action. That's it. That's all I keep doing. Burn the midnight oil, work and work and work some more, or really be in this place of fighting for what you desire. Like, I always hear this verse, I can't remember, maybe Matthew 11 verse 12 or something like that, but it's about, the violent taking it by force. It's like going through and making sure that you are raging and showing up to have what it is that you are worthy of. It's like you have to put in the work to get what it is that's yours. So, any of these ends of the spectrum, living from them will ultimately get us to the place where we are tired and ready to give up or to give in. And maybe that's where you are now. And what I want to do for you is to invite you to life in the middle ground. And so many of us get scared of living in the gray area or living in the middle ground, because we're always told that we have to choose one. You have to pick one and stick to it. But who says? The amazing thing about life is that we get to... Have you ever been on one of those scales where when you stand on it, they're like moving the little dial thing so that it fully adjusts to your weight? But it's like sometimes they have to play around with it. I don't know. And then finally it settles on what your weight is. Or when you think about those, is it called a lever? It's like where you can see that a line is straight. Like you'll see the little bubble thing moving around until it finally settles in the middle. And this is what we are invited to do in our own world, where we have to adjust the dial based on what is needed. And when we adjust the dial to the middle ground, because the middle ground is not a place where we just stay, it's a place that suggests that we can adjust ourselves in the energy that's necessary as we are experiencing life. And so there's ease, there's effort, and I want to call that middle area of flexibility, I want to call that toughness. Toughness. Notice I didn't say strength. Strength and toughness are two different things. When I say toughness, I'm talking about your ability to be resilient. I'm talking about your ability to be flexible. I'm talking about your ability to withstand whatever it is that life throws your way. So, we may talk or hear all the time about mental toughness, physical toughness, emotional toughness. There's all these ways that we are being called upon to be flexible and resilient in our personhood and in our approach to life. And so, toughness, like I said, would be defined as that area, that ability within you where you're able to take a situation that you're dealing with. So let's say one of your projects that you had been just waiting for, hoping for, working towards, all the things, you had it and then you lost it. And immediately you may look at that situation, and depending on what angle you're seeing your situation from, you may say, well, maybe that was just too easy. And because it was just too easy, I guess it wasn't mine. Then you begin to second guess your ability to identify when something's yours, because you thought that was yours wholeheartedly. And now you've lost it simply because this person favored you. This person saw you at the audition and they're like, that's the one. I don't even know what it is, because it's not just the skill set that they're bringing. It's something in their aura. It's something in their eyes. It's something in how they move. And you're like, you know what? Maybe I'm never supposed to have favor. And so you're looking at this thing, let's say from a place of efforting and force, and you're like, see, I'll never let anyone show me favor again. I'll never, everything that I have to work for it. I have to deserve it. Do you see the kind of narrative that's being created there and the kind of life that person is more than likely going to manifest? And then let's flip to the ease side. So you're looking at this project and you're like, oh my goodness, I lost it. And you're feeling a little sad and dejected. And you're like, you know what? I'm not even going to call anyone. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to lay right here. I'm just going to be quiet. And I'm just going to wait for things to work out for me. But guess what? In that moment, what you don't know is that the director wanted to see how badly you wanted to work with him. And what he was waiting for was that call to say, hey, I am the one for the job. You know, the scout, whoever. I'm the one for the job. I'm the one who will, whatever, be the perfect person for this role, whatever it is. But what I'm saying is you can't apply just one perspective and one energy and one posture to everything in life. This is where the toughness comes in, where you begin to say, okay, I see what has happened. What are the different ways that I could skillfully navigate this, knowing in the back of my mind that my priority is in taking care of me? Knowing in the back of my mind that the world is conspiring with me to give me what I desire. how can I move forward? So hear me out. There are two things that I want to share with you real quick. Two shifts that you can make that will help you when you are in that state of disillusionment, doubt, disappointment, and feeling like you want to give up. The first thing is a shift in the lens that you look at the world through, which is, what if you believed that everything that happens in your world is happening for you versus to you? I really want you to sit with that, because we hear that said so many times, and many of us have been there before, where we literally do the biggest bombastic side eye, right? Roll our eyes completely when we hear that. But have we really taken the time to sit with that and to acknowledge what it really means? So if something is happening to you, it's almost as though you don't have a fight in the game. Is that how it's said? It's like you are just the victim. You are just like at the mercy of everything. And if that's the belief that you will employ, then you'll get to the place of wanting to give up. You'll get to the place of not being able to keep going when your perseverance is what's needed. But what if you said, yeah, life is happening for me? Doesn't that shift how you're looking at the challenge that's showing up in your world right now? So like, pause the video, and I want you to think about something that is annoying you, something that is gnawing at you, something that feels challenging right now, something that you'd rather not have in your world. And then say to yourself, what if this is happening for me? Now, what does that mean? That means everything is happening with you in mind. Everything is happening with you in mind. Now, when you think about that, that offers a completely different posture to you, doesn't it? It offers a posture where you feel like the star character. You feel like you're in focus. You feel seen. You feel acknowledged. And you begin to say, based on that, now, if this is happening for me, if I am the main person here, if all eyes are on me, what does this mean for me? Why is this here? If the money is being weird right now, if the projects aren't coming through, if I'm being denied that home, if all these things are failing around me and they're happening for me, then why? What might it mean for me? I'm going to share this really basic story, but I feel like it's going to allow you to think about this in a new way. A friend of mine was getting ready to leave work a little early. And she was like, look, I'm not even saying anything. I'm not calling to get any permission. I'm not really even logged in. So I'm just about to be like out the door. I've had enough for the day. I've done enough. And I'm about to be out. Because based on the nature of her job, she can do that, right? She has that flexibility. And as soon as she packed up, now she was just going to leave 30 minutes early. And as soon as she packed up to leave, she got a call from the director asking her to handle something. And in order to handle it, she had to wait for the director to get on site so they could take care of it together. What time does the director get on site? Remember, the director didn't know she wanted to leave early. She just happened to call her exactly as she was packing her tools away, her work tools, so she could go. And so the director does not show up to this site until 5:25. And when we were talking, I know she felt like this must be like some kind of bad joke, because I really needed to get out of here. And right now, I'm about to leave at the same time I was meant to leave today. Now, on one level, she had felt frustrated and tired and beat down by the day. And so for her, getting out was going to mean she had this chance to rest. And on the flip side of that, she had to acknowledge that there must have been a reason that I needed to stay at work for my full shift today. Because it's almost as though the universe conspired to keep her where she needed to be. And, I can think about my grandpa right now, who would say, you know what, she probably would have gotten in an accident, or she probably would have encountered something that would have been detrimental to her. And so this is the prime example, if you look at it that way, of life happening for you, life happening with you in mind. In other words, it may not feel good, but it doesn't mean it's not good for you, and it doesn't mean it won't be good to you. And so that really helps you to find the silver lining in every aspect of your life, especially the things that don't feel good, right? Because we're not even needing any silver lining when things are amazing. We're good. It's just like, we're good. So that's the first thing. Adopting the belief that everything is happening for you. Everything is happening with you in mind. That literally you are so loved and so seen that everything is collaborating to always bring you something useful, usable to your life experience. So now the next thing I want to offer is this question. How do I feel now? And what do I desire to feel? See, because we're all going to get to that place with different things in our lives where they don't work out, or they don't work out on the schedule that we had in mind, or they don't work out the exact way we had hoped, or they just flat out don't work. And in those moments, how we take and process what we feel is going to be critical to whether or not we can literally brush ourselves off and get back up. No, we got to get back up, brush ourselves off, then keep going. Or if we are just going to lock ourselves in a ball and give up. And literally when I was going to say that, I could see someone like staying in bed, windows closed, in the darkness, letting go of life. And so in those most trying moments, the way we adopt this toughness and apply this toughness is to say to ourselves, okay, I get how I feel. I'm feeling this way. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling stressed out. I'm feeling like the wind has been knocked out of my sails. I'm feeling betrayed. I'm feeling overwhelmed. And then how do I desire to feel? And that's not necessarily a one moment flip of the switch. Sometimes it's I need to sit there just for a moment and feel those feelings. But in the back of my mind, the intention is to move myself from that place of darkness back into the light. From that place of being sorrowful back into the place of being grateful. And so those are two ways that you can apply this toughness to your situation, and that you can invite in this toughness into your personhood, so that at any point along your journey, you're not clinging to just one end of the spectrum, but you are borrowing things from both ends of the spectrum to serve you in a way that helps you to keep going. In other words, there are situations that you will encounter where, yeah, you need to meditate and contemplate and go in that yoga pose and, go running and turn the lights out and just be still and just be silent and, work on your own feeling and energy and believing that everything that you want will magnetize to you. Yeah, that's important. So you borrow some of that, and then you go to the other end of the spectrum and you borrow some of what it means to effort, to put in that force. It means I'm going to take inspired action. It means I'm going to persevere. It means I may need to burn the midnight oil. It means I may need to not just take the easy way out when this other path is assuring me success, and I may need to just work a little bit harder than the next person. It's about bringing those two energies together and borrowing from each as needed to empower you forward. So the thing that you're dealing with right now, you may need to take like 40% from ease and what that means for you and how you apply that in your world, and the other 60 might need to come from efforting and force, and you put those together and you allow yourself to be flexible enough so that you can properly move through. This is what we're calling in flow. This is the real in flow and in step with the divine. It's the ability to move and to shift and to adapt and to adopt what you need from all the areas that might benefit you and help you to feel better and help you to have the desired outcome that you seek. I hope this serves you, my loves. I am sending you so much love. Let me know in the comments what you are thinking, what you are feeling, maybe even some adjustments that you're going to make on your journey. And I will talk to you again soon in another video. Bye for now.